Yo, what's up, YouTube? My name is Max. I'm Max. I'm Max now. I'm Max. I'm maxed out. So, as you can see from all my other videos, I just write and read. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and continue on with this video. This is my affirmation video. I do this as I affirm what I've written here in my notepad. That's what I do. I write and copy books. So then that way I just think about what they're thinking about. So it's really easy, and I'm just going to read it out loud as my affirmation video. So I hear myself think about what I've written about. So I think about it 2 times. And I guess now at this point it's already been almost a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on with the chapter here. This is chapter 11, and this is Fiji and beyond. Conceit is a fog that envelopes a man's real character beyond his own recognition, and weakens his native ability and strengthens all his inconsistencies. And that's what Napoleon Hill said. And that's have it written here. Just and this is chapter 11, Fiji and beyond. So we'll go ahead and continue on with what we're talking about. Anyways, he stepped onto the tarmac. The air was thicker than he had imagined it would have been in the runway, in which is lined with palm trees. This is as truly his paradise as himself as the driver took him through the streets of the village, hearing grown up in the beach. Himself, Greg figured nothing he could be much better and had experience back home. That was until he discovered Fiji. Welcome to our island, the hotel attendant said as Greg checked into what would be his new home for the next few days. His room was very elegantly placed in a panoramic views of the ocean. Nearly it took his breath away. There was such spiritual excellence in the landscape which it was felt, and that was his property. And the people that was pleasant through the flowers and the bloom, and the feeling of the incredible relaxation towards the overcome which has enticed his curiosity. And tours. And it is his idea in which there must be that his friends had chosen this location, Hanover. But he was delighted that they know reading his itinerary, he say his plans, and he had made for 7 o'clock and to enjoy the sunset before he headed back in. As he grabbed on and underway, he was saying that he could not help to notice that he was writing feverishly in his notepad, and as he was interrupted, "I see you're going on it. I may see you're working on something." "Sure," it's Stronger replied, but his name was out the way, and on which his hands, it was a pleasure. So to interrupt, I recently started journaling my thoughts, and was intrigued to see that you too, no problem, only have an hour or so before I head out. And then which was explained to the speech of which the resort he has been working at. On my final thoughts. Where are you speaking on success through failure? You're kidding. Greg said that with a laugh. Failure seems to be my middle name. Or was until recently. Mine is Hope John, and smiled, and really, and I hope Bryant is in the fact that he is a professional in the operation of hope. It helps people across the globe and create better opportunity and lives for themselves. Later, Greg did Google check on his new friend and learned that John Bryant was a philanthropist and entrepreneur of January 22, 2008, and had been appointed vice chair of the U.S. President's Council on the Financial Literacy by President George W. Bush. An operation in Hope is America's final profit and social investments banking organization in which he was operating. In 50 avenues, communities in Africa raised more than $400 million from the private sector to empower the poor. Greg started, and with the usual questioning, "So tell me, I'm writing a book on this topic. Have you found the challenges along the way?" "Absolutely, but I answer quickly, and I have learned that success simply comes from..." Wait a second, Greg stopped in his acquaintances and let me jot this down. He wiped his, and he is trusty notepad, and his new friend continued. Success simply comes from going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. That's great, he responded, and it seems to be a common theme in which we have interviewed. Look, offered Bryant, and we are the thunderstorm in which humans have made mistakes, and that does not mean we are the mistake. That just means we are a very big difference, and many people think that it's easy for us to be considering that sitting here on our toes saying we have challenged onto something in which with you we shall reply. I want 6-month period when I was simply homeless. I understand that it was to have nothing. I understand in which I realized that poverty is not what you pocket, it's what you have in your head. So that's why I always have my hood up. Greg wrote in his notepad and said next to 10% of your attitude is determined by what life ranks your 99% and choose to respond. Funny thing is, being homeless was one of those greatest gifts that I could have received. Why is that? It made me see things from a different perspective, and once homeless, I gained a new mindset. Hey, what else can you do to me? I'm at the bottom, man. What are you going to do to me now? Tell me no? I already had nothing when I walked through the door. Greg could not help but laugh at the speaker's expressive demeanor. Time flew by as the two hurried and exchanged and stories about what the great quest of Bryant shares his vision and his mission and a tremendous passion and conviction. He said there is a difference between being broke and being poor. Being poor is temporary economic condition, but being poor is disabling frame of mind, and we are depressed condition of our spirit, and you must vow to never ever be poor again. Every wealth creator is crystal clear about two things: vision and mission. Every wealth creator is clear about two things: vision and mission. My vision for the poor is to help themselves see themselves differently. I can do this by helping to expose, to educate, and to empower, and ultimately to inspire them and see themselves as who they really are. Anyways, I am rich in spirit. They are assets and not liabilities. They are assets on the world's global balance sheet, because I have seen time and time again that given informed choice, the poor do not want to hand out, but simply want to hand up. I'm trying to hand you up, trying to help you out, but it's cool. Anyways, we'll continue on with the story. And they want the dignity that comes from doing it themselves. When you know you're better, to tend to be better. As Bryant stood out from the farewell, he offered Greg as a card in which it said, "It is everything that I needed, and I'm pumped for the speech, and I may serve you in any way. Please call me," and leave me then there. Pause on something great. Stick with it. Never, ever, 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 never, ever, never, ever give up. Do I have to say it again? Greg shook Ryan's hand and thanked him for this time, which he wrote, every wealth creator is clear about two things. Do I have to say it again? I'm trying to tell you, man. You just got to say it again. A vision and a mission. That's why this is my video, so I can laugh. Anyways, continue to be impressed about how successful and willing to share their experiences and to ask, excuse me, let me clear my throat, and they be of service to another. Realizing that 1 hour slid by and to move quickly to make his dinner appointment, I'll seat you now, and to the hostess by making the way to the table for the overlooking crashes. Surf by, in which he gazed at the menu, trying not to overcome to his neck, and which as mysterious might be, as he pondered the selection, a familiar voice greeted him. "Hello, Greg." As is just sighting, as he hesitated before looking up, trying to find as if he couldn't believe in which he was travel all over this way to meet him with tremendous emotion, he said, "Hi, Maya. It's great to see you." As he rose to embrace her, napkin caught his pants, and David awkwardly, she just laughed and said, "You're so silly." The next few hours turned into the next few days as they recaptured their memories, shared new stories, and renewed their passion for each other in their conversation that seemed never to end. Maya explained that Mr. Buckland had contacted her and to personally inform her of Greg's journey, in which he had communication and inspired her to give the relationship another try. Jonathan Buckland was so generously helped to arrange this rendezvous and knowing exactly what the young couple needed. Besides finding her former love, Maya also fell in love with the new man Greg had become. The man she had left was a short-sighted, self-centered, not all the same man she had fallen in love with. Through her eyes, Greg now realized he had strayed from his own original self and become much pain and caused along the way. Mr. Buckland had helped him rediscover himself. John Buckland could see through the image of his self-importance that Greg had portrayed and recognized the hidden potential in Greg, which was desperately wanted to succeed. Now we have found this in his old self, but grown, renewed with purpose and mission, that he could help others rediscover their true potential through showing their incredible stories of the people he was meeting. What a great gift Buckland had given him. Maya agreed. And she said, there was a lot of people who care about you. Apparently, I do like to lay claim to most of you, of course, and this is what I have to help pray for you, and we could be together like this. Me too, Greg managed to say, but her words had him choked up. You know who else called me besides Mr. Buckland? Of course, he hadn't had a clue, and so Maya went on, and brother David, he went on to know that he was being excited to seek help for the alcohol problem. And he wanted to know why, and why couldn't he have done it himself, and he was demanding, but as they replied and said that his fingers through his lips, he tried to protest and knew he was right in any case, because if you two are close, you're not two blood brothers, but as you stay close, you can then be. He loves you. Greg knows he has let you down and feels ashamed as to what's going on about it. He's going into a 28-year-old rehab as the first step. He'll take it from there and see what happens. We'll be there and ambitious and wish the author has run out of words. A smile lit on his face. You'll be quiet and very grateful, and you'll say your prayers. She advised that's what David needs from you right now. And up on his return with his heart full of gratitude, Greg handed over immediately office on how was your trip? And which Buckland, as he replied as he walked in, knew exactly how things went. And the two shook hands with the warmth they had never expressed before. It seemed with this one simple act that they had become than just allies. They had also become friends. Many weeks passed before they could get together again. During this time, Greg had the conscious decision to work out his best book even more. Excitedly, he made the commitment to work on his relationship with Maya, one of the most common denominators of discovery on which the mission has almost every great leader has spoke with and had long-lasting relationships. Buckland put it together, a person is not complete until he is married. Or he is together. Adding his spin on his thought was the kicker, and then it is finished. Greg laughed. Of course, it's obvious, and so is the manner of association in which the phenomena of the fact that a successful leaders the commitment to overcoming challenges, moments in business' life as well. I have to say it more. Any way you looked at it into the leader, in which is understood, of which is Don Green has referred to this accountability and stickability. You want to cut that from the affirmation video? No. This is just one cut. Stickability. Over the next few months, Greg worked diligently over the manuscript of the book about the success principles he had been learning about along the way. Simultaneously, he learned into building alliances and publishing the world in which he hoped to create a buzz on the street that was onto something special and hoped to the major players on which would be a part of it. Maybe like the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Because it's foundation. But anyways, setting his focus on creating the best project he could, apply the wisdom which he had picked up, giving himself the goal to finish the book by year's end. This would allow for a solid month's interview and plus the flexibility bringing the copy editor to help him with the rough spots, something in which he needed expert counsel. It seemed everything that was going fine until nothing happened. Wi-Fi's funeral. In fact, nothing at all seemed to go, and the wish way seemed near zero, and the economy falling into deeper trouble until the days by went was more or less broke. In addition, he assumed to the movers and which the shakers of the publishing community would not be a part of his special project that he found that this was not the case. Every door that was opened shut behind him quickly as he departed, and the large publishing houses were less than enthusiastic about an unknown first-time author with a proven track record. Look at my track record. You see what I've been doing. It's there. To say they've been cautious or skeptical would be understatement. How could this be? He asked himself. I am missing something else. It is age-old. Can this credit without be credited? And with my experience, which situation which has succeeded in interesting a literary urgent, and which in turn arranged for meetings with the editors and the publishers. Do I have to say it again? I'm just gonna keep talking. But at least you know what I'm talking about. Anyways. But after each meeting, he was left with a rejection and a weakening spirit. Each company had more criticism, and alas, he never imagined which for so many reasons the publisher published the book. One thing that kept him going through the process was that he trusted his trusty notepad. And where words of great insight called from his interviews, which were leaders and experienced struggles of their own. Striving to become first of their 4-time winner Olympian in 4 different decades, Ruben Gonzalez put it in this way. First comes the dream, followed by struggle, and then there is victory. The problem is most people give up by the struggle section and never get to the sense of what victory feels like. Great people have 2 types of courage. First, they have the courage to get started and take a leap of faith, to take action when they have no guarantee of success. Second, once they're on the way, they develop the courage to endure, the courage to persevere. Perseverance is the key. Poring over the pages of the notebook, Greg found his Ruben Gonzalez's messages summarized like this. You need 2 types of courage. First, the courage to get started. Second, the courage not to quit. By doing this, Greg realized people can discover what the Olympic called the courage to succeed. How true is that? Greg, how true is that? Straight from the book. Greg said aloud, although no one was there around to hear him. He thought of the power of the introduction of the letter Don Green had written for him and how successful it had been in helping him get interviews and icons of the business. But at the same time, he remembered how much courage it had taken for him to get started and make calls, never quit. He said to himself, thinking back to Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, renewing his resolve, you're only 3 from goal. He turned to a page in his journal that was well used and starting to wear in corners on where the notes from which the meetings. John Augustine, the producer of Oprah Winfrey's radio program at the Harper Studios, his story ran through Greg's mind like a song set in a repeat. In his early years, John St. Augustine worked as a night shift security officer. One day, searching through the lost and found bin, he stumbled across the same book Buckland had given him. Man, Think and Grow Rich. By a shift scene ending soon the first chapters to set his life in a new direction years later after applying what he had formed and which he had formed in his mind, and which is through this text and through all the other texts that I've been reading. He found himself in the position of a lifetime, without even knowing it, he had to apply his very own success equation by combining his passion for entertainment. What? With this talent for public speaking. He took action by taking jobs at various studios until he finally became part of the greatest associates in the industry. As wonderful as this all may seem, what kept Greg's attention was that St. Augustine had said during an interview, his words of the page read, do common things in uncommon ways, get uncommon results. The producer suggested that instead of trying to mix things up and get different results, people should do the same thing as long as it is the right thing over and over until they finally achieve the desired outcome. John's consistent outcome to the realization of his mission to make sure people all over the world had access to information that they would not only entertain them, but also inspire them with a greater life experience. Rather than talk about himself, Greg rather than talk about myself, I talk about a book. Rather than talk about opinions, I talk about facts. That St. Augustine explained as follows. Imagine professional baseball players or golfers trying a new shot into the swing every time they played. they could never improve their game. I think that's a fact. The secret to success is performing a series of consistent daily tasks and actions with a consistent outcome in mind. I think that's a fact too. You already know this. He added the point is that most people are aware exactly what they need to be doing. We should start applying that knowledge and take some accountability for the personal success or setbacks. We're impressed for a while. We thought that people give up too soon in this deep-throated radio voice. He had declared people simply need to replace their wishbone with a backbone. Many people sit down and wish for things to change their lives and never take necessary action to make these dreams a reality. I made my dreams a reality right in front of my eyes. These dreams are reality. Greg boiled it down for his notebook of treasures. Replace your wishbone with a backbone, closing the pad and placing it in the back pocket. He knew his frustration was part of the process and he was getting closer. Progress is one part of your life and does not guarantee progress or success in any aspect of your life. But stay course, man. Stay course, man. Stay course, man. He thought, just keep in mind, you're only 3 feet from gold. He knew simply you needed to stop complaining, knock on more doors, continue those daily tasks, and improve on the way he was presenting the opportunities to wish he could make it happen. He also knew the prayer went along with the action and could move towards his solution to any problem in relationships, personal, finance, jobs, and career, and towards ultimate success in what he had chosen to pursue. His mother used to share with him in proverb, God will not give you more than you can handle. And at this moment, Greg smiled ironically, wishing God did not have so much faith in him. And that was a chapter on 3 Feet from Gold through the Napoleon Hill Foundation. I'm going to take it back to the future. Just a couple more pages. I'm gonna just take it back. And that was Fiji, Fiji, and beyond. That was on chapter 11 through the Napoleon Hill Foundation, Think and Grow Rich. I just read it, affirmed it, written it right here. And yeah, I appreciate you, and I hope you're listening to what I have to say. And I can never go wrong because from the book. But anyways, I appreciate you, and I hope you're listening to what I had to say, because it's really important that you listen to what's going on. Anyways, thanks. I hope you're listening. I will talk to you later. Bye.